Welcome to PHP Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and it's another Monday mini-sode.
Yeah, we're giving you a Monday mini, and if you don't like the episode, you can return it.
Oh my God. Okay, you were talking on the last podcast about my dad jokes, and then that happened.
No, that was good. That was funny. Let us know in the comments below. Did you laugh when I, or at least laugh at the awkwardness? Because I think my special brand of humor isn't actually being funny, but it's like pretending to be funny, which is like kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a special thing. Like not everybody gets it.
I think we just lost every single new YouTuber watching our.
That's all right. So today we're talking about returns. See, like I said, if they don't like it, they can return.
Well, it's not only returns. I want to say something controversial, which I know that there's some resellers that cringe at this, but I'm gonna say it. Returns are not an option in reselling. They're just not an option. Do you have any objections to what I just said?
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably fought that a year ago. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because it's kind of a cultural shift in the sense that things like Amazon have come around and it has really shaped the way people buy. And it's been so positive for the reselling community in the sense that, one, a lot of people are able to resell on Amazon. Two, it has moved so many people to buying online. Like if you were to tell somebody 10 years ago that you buy all of your stuff online, they'd probably think you were crazy. But now it's just obvious. I mean, people are like, yeah, of course I get my groceries online, right? Like people buy everything online. And so it makes it much easier for people when the total market of consumers is online, chances are you're going to have a higher percentage of people being willing to go to your website, to be willing to go to eBay. If you're selling on Amazon, you're going to be benefiting from that. So it's kind of the rising tide raises all ships. However, the downside of that is they've set the precedent that, one, things are going to be shipped to you quickly, and two, if you don't like it, you just return it. And so if you're not doing that, if you're not willing to take that step, you've just cut off a significant portion of those people who are online shopping because they've got an expectation. Their expectation is you buy online, you don't like it, you return it, and you don't even pay for shipping. It just returns.
Yeah, it's the industry standard. I mean, every company, whether you go Target, whether you go Walmart, whether Best Buy, every single platform, Amazon, right? Poshmark. Now, Poshmark, you can choose not to accept returns, I believe still, right?
Yeah, it's harder to do for sure.
Okay, but the bottom line is, even if you don't offer returns, right? eBay has its money back guarantee. Other platforms have that guarantee. So even if you don't, you can still be forced to do a return. So if it's industry standard, and like Mike said, online buyers, that's what their expectation is, then that might as well be what you do, right? Because you don't want to limit the amount of buyers that are going to buy from you. All right, second, it separates you from the competition. I can't tell you how many times, even personally, all right, on an anecdotal level. Did I say that right? Anecdotal. There you go. Forgot to see. I have gone to eBay and wanted to buy something, but I won't buy it if they don't offer returns, right? Because to me, that communicates that they don't have confidence in their item, right? That there may be something that they missed, or they don't want to deal with me. So,
and I've paid more for items because there have been returns, right? Especially like I mentioned on the last podcast, use electronics, looking at somebody's reviews, right? Do they have good standing? Do they have a lot of positive reviews? But when it's a place that's, let's say I'm trying to buy something and it's $80 on one store, but there's no returns, and it's $92 on another store, but they offer free returns, I might be willing to pay the $92 because I've got that confidence of, if something goes wrong, I can send this back. There's more of a chance that this seller has done their due diligence because they don't want to take that risk. And two, it's that insurance. You're almost buying, whenever you go to like Best Buy Best Buy, do those even exist anymore? You go to Walmart and you buy certain things. Do they?
I just bought all my appliances from
there. Nice. So you buy certain things and it's like, do you want to buy the add-on protection? Most of the time I don't care because I've got the store protection, right? Like I could just return this, up to however many days. But when you're buying on something on eBay, sometimes it's worth paying a little bit more if there's the return. So if that's true as you as a buyer, how much more is that going to be true for all of your customers, right? People who are buying from you. And so you can potentially charge more, because if you are listing an item and you see what the going rate is, and you kind of look at some of the competition, let's say there's 10 other listings for this item, and the highest price items the lowest price items aren't offering returns or free returns, you can actually sell for higher than them if you're offering returns. And just because you're offering returns does not mean you're going to get a return.
Yeah, and now some will argue, well, you're gonna end up losing money because you're offering returns, and then you may not be able to sell the item. But here's the thing: everyone at least that has communicated with us that, hey, Orlando, Mike, we started doing returns and we saw an uptick in sales and it was definitely worth it, has always said that the uptick in sales was far more profitable than the current sales they are having not offering returns, right?
Yeah. So the cost outweighs the
risk.
Yeah, the risk in that situation. And of course, there's always going to be exceptions, right? There's going to be that one time you get a return on something that's just going to be devastating, right? That could really mess you up. But again, when I started offering returns, and I don't do free returns, I do returns, and that could cause a risk of fake INADs and stuff like that. And a lot of times I'll pay for the return if it's a mistake on my end. But just by offering returns, I saw an increase in sales, but my total number of returns didn't actually go up that much. Because even before I offered returns, like you said, there were times where eBay's just going to side with the buyer, and you're giving a refund for this item one way or another.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next. Okay, it gives you an advantage on certain platforms. Like, so for example, on Amazon, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to accept returns. They don't care, right? But on eBay, right, there's the ability. We talked about this in our last podcast, and you should check it out. It's all about keeping the platform on your side. Is the idea that eBay will give you top-rated seller status if you offer 30-day returns. Not only that, do they offer you greater seller protections, right? So one of them is you have the ability to refund a certain percentage instead of giving a full refund. So let's say you sold something new and the person returned it. You could give them only 50% back, and eBay will side with you because it's on your seller protections. And then you can resell that thing used and you still might make profit. So not only are you already made profit because you only had to return and refund 50% of it, you're also making profit later on by reselling it as used, right? So you get different perks, different advantages. I do believe in certain platforms, offering returns puts you higher in the search. I can't prove that, but it would seem, right, that as if it's something that the platform wants, like eBay is very big on, they want you to do returns, right? So if the platform wants you to do something, it will be to your benefit to do it. All right, so let me discuss the next one because I'm sure I wrote it in a certain way and I hope it makes sense. But its idea is it gives you a way out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you want to try explaining that out then?
I mean, it can make sense in a lot of ways, man. The way I take it is, okay, if something goes wrong, right, and you offer returns, it allows
that's exactly what I meant.
It allows you to be able to handle a situation with the customer and end up on top and negate the possibility of getting negative feedback, right? So if you don't offer returns, you might get an instant negative feedback from somebody. This thing, didn't work, it didn't fit, it didn't have, and it's going to be really hard to fight that. But if you offer returns, chances are you can have some communication with that customer, potentially the return or the refund, before a negative feedback even happens. And if a negative feedback does happen, you have kind of that protection of, hey, I offer returns. They could return it to me if they want, and you're more likely to have eBay side with you in that situation, right? There's more likely that when you call them and say, hey, they left me a negative feedback, and I said they can return it, they can send it, full refund, and they didn't return it, right? So that gives you that way out, that extra layer of protection.
Yeah, because if you don't offer returns, you have a buyer that is unhappy about an item, what options do you have? Right? I honestly, I don't know. Like, maybe you could send them an eBay coupon, right? Maybe that's it. But, there's no way for you to console and make things right. It's kind of like, well, I'm sorry, I don't offer returns. Deal with it. Like, they're kind of stuck. But if you offer return, it gives the ability to say, hey, I'm sorry, it didn't work out. You're welcome to return it for a refund. And most of the time that brings things down a notch from going into the negative feedback realm, from getting into the rant realm. And it just calms things down because now the buyer has confidence that you actually care about them. You're on their side. And so it allows you, right, that way out.
And you'd be surprised too, especially in a situation like mine. I don't always offer free returns, right? Sometimes customer pays for returns, but even still, I give that as an option. all right, sorry, wasn't to your likings. You're not happy with the purchase. You can go ahead and return it. And then it's crickets. You never get a return, and then you don't have to worry about it, right? Because they realize sometimes they just want the refund, right? They just want money and the item. And there's times where I do that, depending on the situation. But a lot of times, the moment you're like, sure, go ahead and pack it up, send it back, and they're like, yeah, okay, actually, it's worth it's not that bad, because they realize they can't get another one cheaper.
They call your bluff.
Yep.
Or you call their bluff.
That's right.
So, all right. And then last of all, it protects your feedback. And the reason I say this is because we shared this in our previous podcast. eBay wants to make sure you're doing everything to resolve things with the buyer. So, give you a quick example we've already discussed on our previous podcast. Somebody buys something, they're not happy with it, and they just leave you negative feedback. That's it. Never communicated with you, never said anything. But you message them and say, hey, I'm sorry things didn't work out. It seems you're unhappy. You're welcome to return it for a full refund. So there's two things here, right? They could send it back to you, right? You refund them and you call eBay and you say, hey, listen, I made things right. I refunded the buyer. Everything is good. The main thing is that I made things right. I'm requesting that you remove the negative feedback. And sometimes eBay will, and sometimes they won't. And then, you got to go other channels, right? Try to figure things out. Or you'll send that message of please return it for a full refund. They never do. And that gives you even greater strength to call eBay and say, hey, listen, I tried to make things right. I offered a refund, a return if they send it back. And they never send it back. And so you call eBay and go, hey, listen, I did everything I could. They never returned the item for a full refund. And I want to say 99% of the time, eBay will keep your feedback intact and remove that negative or even neutral feedback at times.
That's good.
All right. So hopefully this helped you. The idea that, hey, returns are not an option. It's an industry standard, separates you from the competition, gives you perks on certain platforms, gives you a way out, and protects your feedback. So hopefully you are all using the power of returns. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling. Peace.